History is a tapestry, woven with threads of triumph and tragedy, of progress and regression. From the battlefields of the Crusades to the nascent stirrings of religious fervor in 19th century America, we'll traverse the annals of history, seeking to unravel the complexities of the past. Our exploration will take us across continents and through centuries, illuminating pivotal moments that redefine the course of human events. We'll delve into eras of radical transformation, witnessing the clash of empires and the birth of new ideologies. The Crusades, a series of holy wars waged in the name of faith, will reveal the enduring power of belief and the deep rifts that can divide humanity. The Black Death, a pandemic of unimaginable scale, will underscore the fragility of life and the transformative impact of catastrophe. Through it all, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of history, how seemingly disparate events weave together to form the intricate tapestry of our collective past. This exploration is not just about kings and queens, battles and treaties. It's about the lives of ordinary people caught in the currents of history. It's about the ideas that sparked revolutions, the innovations that reshaped societies, and the beliefs that fueled both progress and conflict. By understanding the past, we gain a deeper appreciation for the present and a clearer vision for the future. The Renaissance, a period of unparalleled artistic and intellectual ferment, will showcase the human capacity for creativity and innovation. We'll witness the birth of humanism, a philosophy that placed mankind at the center of its own narrative, challenging long-held beliefs and paving the way for a new era of scientific inquiry. The Reformation, a seismic shift in the religious landscape of Europe, will highlight the power of ideas to reshape societies and the enduring human search for spiritual meaning. The Age of Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason and individual liberty, will illuminate the foundations of modern democracy and the enduring struggle for human rights. From the halls of power to the streets where revolutions ignited, we'll trace the evolution of political thought and the ongoing quest for a just and equitable society. The English Revolution, a brutal conflict that pitted king against parliament, will underscore the fragility of power and the enduring human desire for self-governance. Across the Atlantic, the American Revolution will stand as a testament to the enduring power of ideals and the birth of a new nation founded on the principles of liberty and equality. These pivotal moments in history are not just dusty relics of a bygone era. They are echoes that reverberate through time, shaping the world we live in today. As we journey from the grandeur of the Renaissance to the tumult of the Reformation, from the intellectual fervor of the Enlightenment to the battlefields of revolution, we'll encounter a cast of characters, both renowned and unknown. We'll meet visionary artists and ruthless conquerors, brilliant scientists and fervent reformers, each leaving their mark on the grand narrative of history. But beyond these towering figures, we'll also glimpse the lives of ordinary people, the artisans and laborers, the farmers and merchants, the mothers and fathers, sons and daughters whose stories often go untold. Their struggles and triumphs, their beliefs and aspirations form the rich tapestry of human experience that connects us across time and space. This journey through history is not just a linear progression of events. It's a multifaceted exploration of the human condition. It's a story of resilience and innovation, of conflict and cooperation, of the enduring capacity for both great good and profound evil that resides within us all. By immersing ourselves in the past, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the forces that continue to shape our world. As the 11th century dawned, a new fervor began to grip Europe, a potent mix of religious zeal and political ambition. The Byzantine Empire, weakened by internal strife and facing the expanding power of the Seljuk Turks, appealed to the West for aid. Pope Urban II, seizing this opportunity to unite Christendom and expand papal influence, issued a call to arms that would reverberate through history, the First Crusade, motivated by a potent blend of religious devotion and the promise of spiritual rewards. Tens of thousands of Europeans, peasants and knights, merchants and priests heeded the call. They embarked on a perilous journey eastward, driven by the belief that they were fighting a holy war, a righteous campaign to liberate the Holy Land from Muslim rule. The capture of Jerusalem in 1099, a bloody and brutal affair, marked a pivotal moment in the Crusades. The Crusaders, fueled by religious fervor and a thirst for conquest, unleashed a wave of violence upon the city, leaving a legacy of bitterness and resentment that would linger for centuries. The First Crusade's success, however, proved short-lived. The establishment of Crusader states in the Levant, while initially successful, proved a precarious endeavor. The Muslim world, initially caught off guard by the ferocity of the Crusader attacks, rallied under charismatic leaders like Saladin, who united their forces and gradually pushed back against the European invaders. Over the next 2 centuries, a series of crusades unfolded, each marked by varying degrees of success and failure. The Crusader armies, often riven by internal divisions and plagued by logistical challenges, faced fierce resistance from the Muslim forces determined to defend their lands. The Crusades, far from being a monolithic movement, were fraught with complexities and contradictions. While driven by religious fervor, they were also fueled by political ambitions, economic opportunism, and a thirst for adventure. The Crusaders themselves, hailing from diverse backgrounds and motivated by a range of personal beliefs, often displayed a mix of piety, brutality, and cultural curiosity. The Crusades, despite their often violent nature, had a profound and lasting impact on both Europe and the Middle East. The constant interaction between these two distinct cultures, while often marked by conflict, also facilitated a significant exchange of ideas, goods, and technologies. European merchants, eager to capitalize on the newfound trade routes established during the Crusades, brought back to Europe a wealth of exotic goods, spices, silks, and other luxuries from the East. This influx of Eastern goods stimulated the European economy, contributing to the rise of powerful trading cities like Venice and Genoa. The exposure to Islamic scholarship in fields like mathematics, astronomy, and medicine also had a significant impact on European intellectual life, contributing to the Renaissance's later flourishing. The Crusades, while ultimately failing to achieve their primary objective of reclaiming the Holy Land for Christendom, left an indelible mark on the course of history. They fostered cultural exchange, stimulated economic growth, and reshaped the political landscape of both Europe and the Middle East. The echoes of this tumultuous era, with its clash of civilizations and its complex legacy of interaction and exchange, continue to resonate even today. In the midst of the tumultuous 14th century, as Europe grappled with the aftershocks of the Crusades, a new and far more devastating threat emerged from the East: the Black Death. This pestilence, a virulent strain of bubonic plague carried by fleas that infested black rats, swept across Europe with terrifying speed, leaving a trail of death and devastation in its wake. The plague's arrival in 1347, brought by trading ships from the Crimea, marked the beginning of a nightmare that would grip the continent for years to come. Cities, already overcrowded and lacking sanitation, became breeding grounds for the disease. The plague spared no one, striking down rich and poor, young and old, with ruthless impartiality. The symptoms of the plague were as terrifying as they were swift. Victims suffered from agonizing headaches, fever, chills, and swollen lymph nodes that turned black and oozed pus. Death, often within days of the first symptoms, came as a merciful release for many. The stench of death permeated the air, a grim reminder of the plague's relentless grip. The Black Death's impact on European society was nothing short of catastrophic, with an estimated 1/3 to 1/2 of the population wiped out. The social and economic fabric of Europe was torn asunder. Labor shortages crippled agriculture and industry, leading to widespread famine and economic instability. The plague's relentless assault on human life shattered long-held beliefs and traditions. The Church, once a pillar of stability and authority, struggled to explain the seemingly indiscriminate nature of the plague, its spiritual authority shaken as people questioned God's mercy in the face of such suffering. The plague's aftermath also witnessed a profound shift in social relations. With labor in high demand, peasants and laborers found themselves in a position of relative power. They demanded higher wages and better working conditions, challenging the feudal order that had long defined medieval society. The Black Death, while a period of unimaginable suffering, also sowed the seeds of significant change in European history. The plague's decimation of the population led to a surplus of land and resources, creating new opportunities for those who survived. The demand for labor empowered the peasantry, contributing to the decline of feudalism and the rise of a more market-oriented economy. The plague's impact on religious life, while initially undermining the Church's authority, also paved the way for new forms of piety and spiritual expression. The widespread fear of death and the questioning of traditional beliefs fostered a climate of religious introspection, contributing to the later emergence of the Reformation. The Black Death, a stark reminder of human vulnerability in the face of nature's power, left an enduring legacy on European history. It reshaped social structures, challenged religious dogma, and ultimately contributed to the transformation of medieval society, paving the way for the Renaissance and the dawn of a new era. As the dark clouds of the 14th century began to lift, a new spirit of inquiry and creativity emerged from the ashes of the Black Death. The Renaissance, a period of unparalleled cultural and intellectual transformation, dawned first in Italy, its epicenter in the vibrant city of Florence. This rebirth, as the term Renaissance implies, was not merely a revival of classical antiquity, but a rediscovery of the human spirit, a celebration of human potential that had long lay dormant. At the heart of this transformation lay humanism, a philosophical movement that shifted the focus from divine authority to human reason and experience. Humanist scholars, inspired by the rediscovery of ancient Greek and Roman texts, emphasized the study of the humanities, literature, history, philosophy, as a means of cultivating a virtuous and well-rounded citizenry. They celebrated the individual's capacity for learning, creativity, and moral growth, challenging the medieval worldview that had long dominated European thought. Florence, under the patronage of the Medici family, became a crucible of artistic and intellectual ferment. The Medici, shrewd bankers and astute patrons of the arts, recognized the transformative power of art and knowledge. Their generous support nurtured a generation of artists, writers, and thinkers who would redefine the cultural landscape of Europe. The Renaissance witnessed an explosion of artistic genius that left an indelible mark on Western civilization. Leonardo da Vinci, a polymath of unparalleled brilliance, embodied the Renaissance ideal of the universal man, excelling in painting, sculpture, engineering, and anatomy. His iconic Mona Lisa, with its enigmatic smile and masterful use of sfumato, continues to captivate viewers centuries later. Michelangelo, another towering figure of the Italian Renaissance, left an enduring legacy in his awe-inspiring frescoes adorning the Sistine Chapel ceiling and the poignant beauty of his David, a sculpture that epitomizes the Renaissance ideal of human perfection. Raphael, known for his harmonious compositions and graceful figures, further enriched the artistic landscape of the Renaissance with masterpieces like the School of Athens, a fresco celebrating the classical tradition that so inspired the Renaissance spirit. These artistic giants, along with a host of other talented painters, sculptors, and architects, transformed the way Europeans saw the world and their place in it. The Renaissance's impact, however, extended far beyond the realm of art. Science, too, experienced a profound awakening, challenging long-held beliefs and paving the way for the scientific revolution. Nicholas Copernicus, a Polish astronomer, dared to challenge the geocentric model of the universe, proposing instead a heliocentric system with the sun at the center. Johannes Gutenberg's invention of the printing press in the mid-15th century proved to be a watershed moment in human history. Gutenberg's printing press, with its movable type, allowed for the mass production of books, making knowledge more accessible and affordable than ever before. The printing press revolutionized communication, facilitating the spread of Renaissance ideas far beyond the confines of universities and monasteries. It fueled the Reformation, allowing Martin Luther's 95 Theses to spread like wildfire across Europe, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church and sparking a religious revolution. The printing press also played a crucial role in the scientific revolution, disseminating the groundbreaking ideas of Copernicus, Galileo, and Newton, challenging traditional beliefs and ushering in a new era of scientific inquiry. The Renaissance, though centered in Italy, was not confined to its borders. The spirit of inquiry and innovation spread northward, taking root in other parts of Europe, and sparking a period of cultural and intellectual flourishing known as the Northern Renaissance. In the Netherlands, artists like Jan van Eyck and Hieronymus Bosch developed distinctive styles known for their meticulous detail and often surreal imagery. In England, the Renaissance found expression in the works of William Shakespeare, whose plays explored the depths of human emotion and the complexities of the human condition with unparalleled insight and artistry. Shakespeare's plays, from the tragedies of Hamlet and Macbeth to the comedies of A Midsummer Night's Dream and Twelfth Night, remain timeless masterpieces. Their themes of love, loss, ambition, and revenge resonating with audiences centuries after they were written. As the Renaissance reached its zenith, a storm was brewing within the Church, a crisis of conscience that would shatter the religious unity of Europe. The Catholic Church, once the unchallenged spiritual authority in the West, faced growing criticism for its perceived corruption, its lavish displays of wealth, standing in stark contrast to the poverty of many of its parishioners. The sale of indulgences, a practice that promised forgiveness of sins in exchange for financial contributions to the Church, sparked particular outrage, seen by many as a crass exploitation of religious belief for material gain. Martin Luther, an Augustinian monk and professor of theology at the University of Wittenberg, emerged as a vocal critic of these abuses. Luther, a man of deep piety and rigorous intellect, had long grappled with questions of sin, salvation, and the nature of God's grace. His study of the Bible, particularly the writings of St. Paul, led him to the conviction that salvation came not through good works or the intercession of the Church, but through faith alone in the redemptive power of Jesus Christ. In 1517, Luther made his stand, nailing his 95 Theses to the door of the Wittenberg Castle Church, a common practice for announcing academic debates. Luther's theses, written in Latin and intended for a scholarly audience, challenged the Church's authority on matters of doctrine, particularly its claims regarding indulgences. Luther argued that the Pope had no power to forgive sins, that salvation came through God's grace alone, and that the Bible, not the pronouncements of popes or councils, was the ultimate authority in matters of faith. Section 2. The Protestant Reformation. Luther's bold challenge to the Church ignited a firestorm of controversy that would sweep across Europe, splitting Christendom and sparking a century of religious warfare. The printing press, a recent invention that revolutionized communication, proved to be a powerful weapon in the hands of the reformers. Luther's writings, translated into vernacular languages and disseminated widely, resonated with a growing segment of the population who had grown disillusioned with the Church's perceived corruption and its often oppressive authority. The Reformation, as this movement came to be known, spread rapidly, taking root in Germany, Switzerland, France, England, and beyond. Reformers like John Calvin in Geneva and Ulrich Zwingli in Zurich developed their own interpretations of Christian doctrine, emphasizing God's sovereignty, predestination, and the importance of a simple, unadorned form of worship. The Catholic Church, initially slow to respond to the challenge posed by Luther and his followers, eventually mounted a vigorous counter-reformation, seeking to reform its own practices while reaffirming its traditional doctrines. The Council of Trent, convened in 1545, addressed many of the abuses that had fueled the Reformation, condemning the sale of indulgences, emphasizing the importance of both faith and good works for salvation, and reaffirming the authority of the Pope in the Church hierarchy. Section 3. A Legacy of Change. The Reformation, despite the bitter religious conflicts it engendered, had a profound and lasting impact on Western civilization. The emergence of Protestantism shattered the religious unity of Europe, leading to the establishment of new churches and denominations that challenged the Catholic Church's long-held dominance. The religious wars that followed, while devastating in their human toll, also contributed to the rise of nation-states, as rulers sought to consolidate their power and assert their independence from both the papacy and the Holy Roman Empire. The Reformation also had a significant impact on education, literacy, and the development of vernacular languages. Protestants, emphasizing the importance of individual Bible study, promoted literacy and education as essential for spiritual growth. The translation of the Bible into vernacular languages, a key element of the Reformation's success, not only made the Scriptures more accessible to a wider audience, but also contributed to the development of national literatures. The Reformation's emphasis on individual conscience and the priesthood of all believers had far-reaching implications for the development of Western thought. It challenged traditional hierarchies, both religious and secular, and paved the way for the Enlightenment's later emphasis on reason, individual liberty, and the separation of church and state. The Reformation's legacy, with its emphasis on religious freedom, individual conscience, and the right to dissent, continues to shape our world today, a testament to the enduring power of ideas to reshape societies and challenge the status quo. Section 1. The Age of Reason. As the dust settled from the religious upheavals of the Reformation, a new era of intellectual ferment began to dawn in Europe. The 18th century witnessed the rise of the Enlightenment, a philosophical and cultural movement that celebrated reason, science, and individual liberty as the guiding principles of human progress. The Enlightenment, building on the foundations laid by the Renaissance and the Reformation, challenged traditional hierarchies, questioned long-held beliefs, and sought to apply reason and empirical observation to all aspects of human endeavor. At the heart of the Enlightenment lay a profound faith in human reason, a belief that through rational inquiry and critical thinking, humanity could unlock the secrets of the universe and create a more just and equitable society. Enlightenment thinkers, known as philosophes, rejected the dogma and superstition that they believed had clouded human understanding for centuries. They embraced the scientific method with its emphasis on observation, experimentation, and the search for natural laws as the most reliable path to knowledge. The Enlightenment was not a monolithic movement. Rather, it encompassed a wide range of ideas and perspectives, often expressed through lively debate and sometimes heated disagreement. Salons, hosted by wealthy and intellectually curious women, became important centers of Enlightenment discourse, providing a forum for the exchange of ideas and the dissemination of knowledge. The printing press, which had played such a pivotal role in spreading the ideas of the Reformation, continued to be a powerful tool for Enlightenment thinkers, allowing them to reach a wider audience with their writings and challenge traditional sources of authority. Section 2. Pillars of Enlightenment. John Locke, an English philosopher and physician, laid the groundwork for the Enlightenment's emphasis on individual liberty and limited government with his two treatises of government. Locke argued that all individuals possessed natural rights to life, liberty, and property, rights that pre-existed government and could not be infringed upon by any earthly authority. Locke's ideas, particularly his concept of the social contract, the idea that government derives its legitimacy from the consent of the governed, would have a profound influence on the American Revolution and the drafting of the United States Constitution. Across the English Channel, French philosophers like Voltaire, Montesquieu, and Rousseau would make their own distinctive contributions to the Enlightenment. Voltaire, a fierce critic of religious intolerance and censorship, championed freedom of speech and freedom of thought as essential for human progress. His writings, often satirical and laced with wit, exposed the hypocrisy and abuses of power that he saw rampant in both church and state. Montesquieu, a French lawyer and political philosopher, argued for the separation of powers in government, believing that dividing governmental authority among different branches, legislative, executive, and judicial, would prevent tyranny and safeguard individual liberty. His ideas, outlined in his influential work, The Spirit of the Laws, would have a lasting impact on the development of constitutional government in both Europe and America. Section 3. A Legacy of Progress. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a Swiss-born philosopher and writer, made a unique and often contradictory contribution to the Enlightenment. Rousseau, while embracing the Enlightenment's emphasis on reason and individual liberty, also expressed a deep skepticism towards progress and civilization, believing that they had corrupted humanity's natural goodness. His concept of the general will, outlined in his influential work The Social Contract, argued that true freedom lay in submitting to the collective will of the community, an idea that would be both celebrated and criticized for its potential to justify authoritarianism. The Enlightenment's impact extended far beyond the realm of political philosophy. In the sciences, Isaac Newton's groundbreaking work in physics and mathematics laid the foundation for a new understanding of the universe, one governed by natural laws that could be observed, measured, and understood through reason and empirical observation. Newton's laws of motion and universal gravitation revolutionized physics, providing a unifying framework for understanding the motion of objects, both on Earth and in the heavens. The Enlightenment's emphasis on reason and empirical observation also fueled advances in medicine, chemistry, and biology. Physicians like Edward Jenner, who pioneered the smallpox vaccine, and William Harvey, who discovered the circulation of blood, made groundbreaking discoveries that challenged traditional medical practices and laid the foundation for modern medicine. The Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason, individual liberty, and the pursuit of knowledge, had a profound and lasting impact on Western civilization. Its ideas fueled revolutions in America and France, inspired the drafting of constitutions that enshrined the principles of individual rights and limited government, and laid the groundwork for the abolition of slavery, the expansion of suffrage, and the fight for social justice that would continue for centuries to come. Section 1. Seeds of Discontent. As the Enlightenment's emphasis on reason and individual liberty swept across Europe, it ignited a firestorm of change that would shake the very foundations of power. England, a land long steeped in tradition and ruled by a monarchy that traced its lineage back centuries, found itself caught in the crosscurrents of this transformative era. The seeds of discontent, sown by religious strife, economic hardship, and the growing assertion of Parliament's authority, were about to blossom into a revolution that would forever alter the course of English history. The reign of James I, the first Stuart King of England, marked a period of growing tension between the Crown and Parliament. James, a firm believer in the divine right of kings, clashed with Parliament over issues of taxation, religious policy, and the limits of royal prerogative. Parliament, composed of representatives from the landed gentry and the rising merchant class, jealously guarded its traditional rights and privileges, viewing itself as a bulwark against royal absolutism. James's son and successor, Charles I, inherited his father's belief in the divine right of kings, but lacked his political acumen. Charles, a man of deep religious conviction but prone to autocratic tendencies, further alienated Parliament with his policies. His attempts to impose a high Anglican uniformity on the Church of England, coupled with his levying of taxes without Parliament's consent, sparked widespread resentment and resistance. The English Civil War, a conflict that would pit king against Parliament, brother against brother, was on the horizon. The spark that ignited the conflagration came in 1642, when Charles, frustrated by Parliament's defiance and seeking to arrest 5 of its most outspoken members, entered the House of Commons with armed soldiers. The 5 members escaped, but Charles's act of aggression shattered any hope of a peaceful resolution to the growing conflict. England erupted into civil war, a bloody and brutal conflict that would rage for nearly a decade. The Royalists, drawn from the nobility, the gentry, and those who supported the king's authority, faced off against the parliamentarians, a diverse coalition united by their opposition to Charles's rule. The parliamentarians, led by Oliver Cromwell, a skilled military strategist and devout Puritan, gradually gained the upper hand. Their victories at Marston Moor in 1644 and Naseby in 1645 proved decisive. Cromwell's new model army, a disciplined and professional fighting force, proved more than a match for the Royalist forces. Their zeal for the parliamentarian cause was fueled by a potent mix of religious conviction and political idealism. Charles, defeated and captured, was put on trial for treason by the Rump Parliament, a remnant of the original Parliament that had been purged of its more moderate members. The trial and execution of Charles Lefranc in 1649 sent shockwaves across Europe. Never before had a reigning monarch been tried and executed by his own subjects. The regicide, as it came to be known, marked a turning point in English history, a decisive break with the past, and a bold assertion of the people's right to hold their rulers accountable. With the monarchy abolished, England embarked on a period of republican rule, known as the Commonwealth. Cromwell, as Lord Protector, emerged as the most powerful figure in the land, his rule marked by both military success abroad and religious and social reforms at home. The English Civil War and its aftermath had exposed deep divisions within English society, divisions that ran along religious, political, and social lines. The Puritans, who had played such a prominent role in the parliamentarian cause, sought to impose their strict moral code on the nation. They closed theaters, banned traditional festivities, and enforced a strict observance of the Sabbath. Their efforts, while well-intentioned, alienated many who resented their austere rule. Cromwell's death in 1658 left a power vacuum that England, weary of civil war and Puritan rule, proved unable to fill. The Restoration, as it came to be known, restored the monarchy with the accession of Charles II and the exiled son of Charles I. Charles II, a shrewd and pragmatic ruler, sought to heal the wounds of the past and restore a sense of stability and order to the nation. The Restoration, however, did not signal a return to the status quo ante bellum. The monarchy, while restored, was no longer absolute. The Glorious Revolution of 1688, a bloodless coup that deposed James II, Charles II's Catholic brother, and installed William of Orange and Mary, his Protestant daughter, as joint monarchs, confirmed the supremacy of Parliament. The English Bill of Rights, passed by Parliament in 1689, enshrined the principles of limited government, individual liberty, and the rule of law. The Bill of Rights guaranteed free elections, freedom of speech in Parliament, and protection from cruel and unusual punishment. It also established the principle that the monarch could not suspend laws, levy taxes, or maintain a standing army without Parliament's consent. The English Revolution, with its tumultuous upheavals and its lasting legacy of constitutional government, would serve as a beacon of hope for those who yearned for liberty and self-governance in the centuries to come. Across the Atlantic, the echoes of the English Revolution reverberated in the 13 colonies that clung to the eastern seaboard of North America. These colonies, founded by settlers seeking religious freedom, economic opportunity, and escape from the rigid social hierarchies of Europe, had developed their own distinct identities and a growing sense of self-reliance. Bound by a common language, a shared heritage of English common law, and a growing resentment of British rule, they were poised to embark on their own revolutionary path. The seeds of discontent were sown in the aftermath of the French and Indian War, a costly conflict that had pitted Britain against France for control of North America. Britain, victorious but deeply in debt, sought to recoup its losses by imposing new taxes on its American colonies. The Stamp Act of 1765, which required colonists to pay a tax on all printed materials, sparked widespread outrage, viewed by many as an infringement on their rights as Englishmen. The cry of no taxation without representation rang out from the taverns of Boston to the plantations of Virginia, a rallying cry for colonists who resented being taxed by a parliament in which they had no voice. The Sons of Liberty, a secret society formed to oppose British policies, organized protests, boycotts, and acts of defiance, their actions fueled by a growing sense that British rule had become tyrannical. The Boston Massacre of 1770 in which British soldiers fired upon a crowd of unarmed colonists, killing 5, further inflamed tensions. The incident, though sparked by a relatively minor altercation, became a powerful symbol of British oppression and colonial resistance. The British government, alarmed by the growing unrest in its American colonies, attempted to assert its authority through a series of coercive acts that only served to further alienate the colonists. The Tea Act of 1773, which granted the British East India Company a monopoly on the tea trade, sparked the Boston Tea Party, a brazen act of defiance in which colonists disguised as Native Americans dumped chests of tea into Boston Harbor. The British response was swift and severe. The intolerable acts, as they came to be known by the colonists, closed the port of Boston, restricted colonial self-government, and allowed for the quartering of British troops in private homes. These acts, far from quelling the rebellion, only served to strengthen the colonists' resolve. In 1775, the simmering tensions between Britain and its American colonies erupted into open warfare. The battles of Lexington and Concord, though militarily insignificant, marked the beginning of the American Revolution. The Second Continental Congress, convened in Philadelphia, assumed the role of a provisional government, organizing an army, and appointing George Washington, a Virginia planter and veteran of the French and Indian War, as its commander-in-chief. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress took the momentous step of declaring independence from Great Britain. The Declaration of Independence, penned by Thomas Jefferson, eloquently articulated the colonists' grievances against British rule and proclaimed their right to self-government. Section 3. A New Nation Forged. The American Revolution, far from being a foregone conclusion, was a long and arduous struggle. The Continental Army, poorly equipped and lacking training, faced a formidable foe in the British Army, the most powerful military force in the world at the time. The colonists, however, were fighting for their homes, their families, and their ideals, their determination fueled by a belief in the righteousness of their cause. The war dragged on for years, a seesaw battle fought on multiple fronts. The Continental Army, led by George Washington's steady hand and inspired by key victories at Trenton, Saratoga, and Yorktown, gradually wore down the British forces. The British, facing mounting losses and a growing war weariness at home, finally agreed to negotiate peace. The Treaty of Paris, signed in 1783, recognized the independence of the United States of America. The 13 colonies, once scattered settlements, clinging to the edge of a vast wilderness, had emerged as a new nation, founded on the principles of liberty, equality, and self-government. The American Revolution, inspired by the Enlightenment's ideals of reason, individual liberty, and limited government, would have a profound impact on the course of world history. It would serve as a beacon of hope for those who yearned for freedom from oppression, a testament to the power of ideas to reshape societies and challenge the established order. Section 1. The Enduring Legacy. Our journey through history, from the fervor of the Crusades to the nascent stirrings of religious revivalism in 19th century America, has illuminated a path marked by both progress and regression, by moments of profound human achievement and periods of unimaginable suffering. We have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the clash of ideologies, and the enduring human quest for meaning and purpose in a world often characterized by uncertainty and change. The Crusades, launched in the name of faith, remind us of the enduring power of belief to both unite and divide humanity. The Black Death, a pandemic of unimaginable scale, underscores the fragility of human existence and the transformative impact of catastrophe. The Renaissance, with its rebirth of art, science, and culture, stands as a testament to the human capacity for creativity and innovation, a beacon of light emerging from the darkness of the Middle Ages. The Reformation, sparked by Martin Luther's challenge to the Catholic Church, highlights the power of ideas to reshape societies and the enduring human search for spiritual meaning. The Age of Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason, individual liberty, and the pursuit of knowledge, laid the groundwork for modern democracy and the ongoing struggle for human rights. Section 2. The Unfolding Tapestry. The English Revolution, a bloody conflict that pitted king against parliament, underscores the fragility of power and the enduring human desire for self-governance. The American Revolution, inspired by the ideals of the Enlightenment, stands as a testament to the power of ideas to ignite revolutions and forge new nations. From the battlefields of the Crusades to the halls of power where revolutions were ignited, we have encountered a cast of characters both renowned and unknown, each leaving their mark on the grand narrative of history. We have met kings and queens, artists and inventors, philosophers and revolutionaries, all driven by their own ambitions, ideals, and beliefs. But beyond these towering figures, we have also glimpsed the lives of ordinary people, the peasants and laborers, the merchants and artisans, the mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, whose stories often go untold. Their struggles and triumphs, their hopes and fears, form the rich tapestry of human experience that connects us across time and space. Section 3. A mirror to ourselves. History is not merely a collection of dusty facts and dates. It is a living narrative, a tapestry woven from the threads of countless individual lives, each contributing to the grand and ever-evolving story of humankind. By studying the past, we gain a deeper understanding not only of where we come from, but also of who we are and what we might yet become. The challenges faced by those who came before us, though often different in their specific manifestations, resonate with timeless themes that continue to shape our world today. The struggle for power and justice, the search for meaning and purpose, the conflict between tradition and innovation, the tension between individual liberty and the common good. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, grappling with issues of globalization, technological advancement, environmental degradation, and social and political upheaval, the lessons of history serve as both a guide and a cautionary tale.